The secrets of designing monumental graphics. Welcome to my seminar. Today I will show you some of my artworks of the last 10 years, and I will explain how everyone can develop an own style, an own painting style. But first of all, we should take a look on what is a good graphic, or what wants to be a good graphic. And before we come to the monumental part, I will show you some different approaches how to design graphics. Well, most of you play with photo cameras and stuff, and of course you all have done photo manipulations, such like this. This is nothing else but a photo and a printed layer done with a graphic tablet. For all of you who don't have a graphic tablet, buy one. They're quite cheap, and they are the ultimate input device for designing graphics. So if you got an idea, it's good to let the computer compute things, hence the name, to combine different techniques. That may be photo and paint. That may be as well 3D stuff. You all have done 3D stuff with Cinema 4D or Bryce or anything else, 3D Max. I think one of the crunchiest things you can do with graphics is combine different techniques, so they seem to belong together. For example, if you look at this picture, we got the whole room rendered, and the figures are painted. And to combine those two techniques, the figures also have rendered props. For example, the helmets, or the trumpet, or stuff like that. So when you combine things, it gets art. You can paint as long as you want. You maybe never approach art. If you look at the art thing, you always have to combine things, to try things which no one has done before. Therefore, you have to try to combine things like 3D and painting, or photo and painting, or something different. Okay, I can talk about it in detail, how to approach to a monumental graphic. First of all, I use a sketch. I have an image in my brain, and I have an idea. And as long as the idea is fresh, you should simply sketch it with a biro, with a pencil, because the sketches is when you run long projects, a sketch is important to not lose the red ribbon. So when you work 6 or 8 weeks on one graphic, you get into ideas, you withdraw ideas, and so if you do a sketch at the beginning, you can hold the idea. It's very, very important. Then you have to design a room. You have to define a room. Like you have seen, that can, of course, be a photo. We revisit the photo thing later on, but it can as well be a virtual reality, if you like. After you have got the room, you need some lights. Lights are in 3D. Lights are the essential medium for doing interesting graphics. The geometry of the objects, like tables or whatever, aren't as important as correct light setting, because the light tends to brighten up your colors, tends to play with the colors, tends to enrich your image with details, which of course simple objects are limited. After you get the lights, you have to play a little bit with the lights. For example, you may use volume stuff and things like that. Yeah, that's a wireframe of the scene. Why am I telling this? If you got many details, which you have rendered, and want to paint over the whole scene, you have to choose a palette of, we have 18 colors here for the whole picture, and design some figures, which may result in things like that. It's quite interesting composition because it's there's no place which is really free. So we got several different spots of action here. The main plot, of course, is you always need a main plot. If the Lucky Luke here wouldn't exist, the picture wouldn't work. The Lucky Luke is the point where the visitor, the viewer, gets into the image. It's and he drives you into the action. He gives you a special view on the location, if you want to, and yeah, that's it. The rest is painting, 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 which leads us to a very monumental project. This one is in printed size about 3 meters large, which should be quite exactly the size it's displayed here. But of course, it's more sharp in a printed version. That means you, when you work with high resolutions, maybe 30,000, 40,000 pixels, you have to plan your steps. You have to divide your pictures in different areas. If you look here, this area is a complete different thing than the middle or the right part of the graphics. And yeah, when you go into detail, this was an experiment because all the figures were rendered. I used a software named Poser and wanted to look what you can do with rendering figures. And I stated that rendering figures, they all look like clones. It's some kind of boring, actually. When you look at the faces, they're all exactly the same. I tended to paint the clothes differently and the hair differently to each of those 300 or 400 figures displayed here. So, Voice is my head, one of my favorites. I went back to digital style background, and my graphic looks like this. What's special on this graphic is that it's not only combined 3D and some painting stuff in here, but also photos and a screenshot. It's all you can get if you want. So what's the special? The special message in this picture? It's about programming, about coding. You see some CE64 code here, and it's about all those small little figures you see here, and those figures are a code layer. Are those small creatures, those bugs who glue the code together, and I tended to show what's happening in my mind whilst coding. So yeah, this was quite an experiment, and it wouldn't work as well. No, it wouldn't work if the light weren't there. The light is the most important thing when you design such a graphic. You can combine different areas. For example, the book, which is a photo, the figures and the 3D by setting light sources and look how the different layers, or paint how the different layers react on the light. So you have a combining element which glues the graphic together. That's what the lights are for. When you tend to look at my graphics, there's always a heavy light situation. It's every time for the glue. Yeah, this one is quite interesting because I approached graphics a little different. I did a little homework before. I did some sketches and wanted to know how sketches or scans of sketches react on a final graphic. When you color them each for their own, and design a graphic by such sketches, and it tends that the coloring is too intensive for this, for example, and that the background doesn't match with the figures, because I have really two layers, one foreground, one background, and they don't glue together because none of the lights in the foreground match to the background. So the background doesn't get any light and it doesn't work. Little detail, I see 64 graphic. Hall of Fame, a project I had last year. The sketching part was quite interesting. And I wanted to implement sketches on huge graphic projects, because when you sketch things with a pencil or with a graphic tablet, you tend to be fast. That's what computers are for, fast graphics. And I realized that rendering figures doesn't work for me, because it takes much too long to get a figure. So those sketches, every sketch is about 5 to 20 minutes, and they are all hidden somewhere here in the background. Of course, this is a graphic which has about 60,000 pixels in width, so there's lots of space for things to hide and seek later on. The interesting thing at this picture is where the art is hidden, is that you got faces everywhere on the leftmost, and on the rightmost side, and in between this area there are no faces. But when people look at this picture and they get the idea of the hidden faces, they tend to look here and tend to get those faces, to see those faces, although they are not there. So this is quite an artificial and therefore art aspect. You let people something see which isn't there. You open their minds with something hidden here, hidden there, and they expect something here, but they don't get it, but they think they get it, and therefore they have a expectation, and therefore they find the faces hidden there. Okay, interesting stuff. Oh yeah, this is about developing a sketch style, developing figures. I did a little series of pictures last year for different parties, where some of my creatures, my feature creatures as I call them, are featured in different scenes, which are simple layers of photography, of manipulated photography, as you see here. And it's one or two or a small amount of figures, and those figures are designed to satisfy this size. which isn't as big as you might think. It's about 4 times high definition format in a printed on a printed lane. So even with low resolutions, you got to get big pictures. What I wanted to achieve with painting those creatures is, of course, to get my style advanced. Who doesn't want that? And to experiment with light situations. As you see here, we have exactly one light source, which is burning tail, and all the light spreads amongst the room. That means you have to think where's when you manipulate your photo, you have to think about lighting and shadowing and stuff like that. And what you do, you glue all together. Next one is, here you see how my graphics look at the beginning stage when I tend to begin to work with them. Actually, I use random structures to watch and let me inspire by those random structures and look what could be a figure, where could I do a figure with a given structures, and most of the time it ends like this. I get several hundred of these sketches. When you know how, you do 5 or 6 of them every day. At least you could if you would. So if I try to do a bigger graphics, I usually tend to implement photos, because photos are easy to handle, and photos usually have a bright color spectrum, so I don't have to think about the colors, basically. Here I really don't think about the form of the figures. It's there, it just has to be lightened and shadowed. And here I don't think about the lights. So no thinking means speed. It's good. It's a good thing. You can follow your intuition, and the rest is quite easy. You get your favorite painting application, which can be Photoshop, which can be ArtRage, which can be GIMP or anything else. You may even write your own one. It doesn't matter, as long as you can smear something and clip the graphic parts together. This would be the final image, which is quite nice because it's some kind of work in here and has a lot of room. Maybe there's another layer of a tree or something is missing, but it works some kind of. Of course, you can also combine photos to different layers. And photos are quite nice because they are fast. And if you correct the color of the photos and glue them together, they work pretty well, as you don't see that these are different layers or different photos. But it works some kind of. What's special on this picture is that I played a little bit with the perspective. And it's like an earthquake, someone told me yesterday. Maybe it is. Yeah, sometimes you have to withdraw ideas. Well, I decided to it's actually this one. I decided to paint a scene, and I realized the leftmost part of it didn't work, although I spent 2 or 3 days in it. And so I withdrew it and erased it and painted something else over. This means it doesn't matter how much time you invest in a part of a picture or in a picture itself, maybe. You always have to be able to withdraw ideas, to scratch ideas, and to overpaint something in order to get a better result. So don't hesitate to scratch your images and to play with them. Yeah, this is a work stage of a never finished graphic. Here you can see how to combine some photos. I chose this because this is interesting for the background. Not the figures. The figures are quite basic, but the background. I got two perspectives of two different photos of two different architectures, and they don't fit together. But I've got a painted part here in the middle, which glues the whole thing together by combining their perspectives, by telling the watcher this belongs together, and therefore the watcher believes that, and it's in his imagination that the picture or the background works, and most of the people don't question those crazy perspectives, but they accept it. So as a painter, you can tell people everything. People believe everything, what you tell them on the canvas. Oh, yeah, another one, and another one. This is quite interesting. When you go into monumental graphics, you have lots of space. You have space from here to Mars to paint. You can paint all your ideas, and when you go monumental, it doesn't matter if such details are painted good or details are painted not so good, if they work, if they don't work, because there's so much space, and you may implement so much details. It doesn't matter if some of the stuff isn't good enough, because the viewer, the spectator, can always switch to another detail if you are indeed into details. So what we got here, we got some interesting structures for a picture. The interesting thing is this picture sets focus on the structures alone by using color families. For example, we have violet or blue color families, and everywhere where it gets bluer, for example, there is a detail. You can decide where the viewer is watching or where he should watch. So if you got details, you see we have a colorful area here, and we have a blue on the yellow area here, and all those dots around. So there are different areas in the picture. You always should divide your canvas into different sections, different areas, because when you plan to do a monumental graphics, for example, 100,000 pixels or stuff in width, you have to say, I only got 2 days time for that, and if it isn't good enough, it isn't good enough. Maybe I will revisit it later, but it's done, and for the next thing, I have also 2 days and stuff. You have to plan your process. You have to plan maybe a week for scratching characters together, for then a day or two for combining the characters on a big canvas, and then get a nice background and combine these layers by the lights. So in the end, you'll get a picture which isn't perfect. None of the pictures will be perfect, but which works somehow, because when you plan such things, you don't have to be too perfect to get it working, because what I told you, the spectator, the viewer, believes everything you serve him. As long as the idea gets transported, it doesn't matter how good it's drawn. Well, to speed things up, you can follow your intuition. You can follow your emotions by, for example, doing the allegoric way. Allegoric painting, for those who don't know, is, like I said in my introduction, allegoric painting is a technique where you will let you inspire by different structures or areas of pictures. You cut them into pieces and you blow them up by zooming. And this is one of those originals. It's a slide post-operated, but this is an area which one can get inspired by. You got all those little bumps and little color changings and stuff, so you can zoom in and paint something over it. You see, I got a landscape architecture here in the middle of the picture, so there's enough room to get figures implemented, and therefore I get into more details. The more you paint, of course, the more bizarre structures you will get, and you can use those structures again to get into more detail. You zoom in and zoom and zoom and zoom and zoom until the zoom resolution doesn't hold any space for adding characters. But as long you can do details. For example, yeah, so it doesn't work on the big screen. Yeah, details. Funny thing is, most of the details you get when you get a huge image, you can isolate your details, and most of the details work as a separate picture. For example, this is a small detail of a bigger picture of mine, and actually it works as a landscape. It has a horizon, it has buildings, it has some landscape in it, and if it got some characters, it would work as a separate scene. I think it's important to when you go into detailed work, that you cover up scenes where something has happened, because you want to entertain someone. The viewer of the image wants always to be entertained. If he don't like the picture, he has 1 to 3 seconds to decide: is this picture good? Is it crap? And you have to hook him. And when you hook him, most people get hooked by little details, because they can explore a world for their own. When you hook them, you have won. So you should add some bizarre stuff into your scenes. For example, those little figures who come out of everywhere, of structures, of forms and stuff. Yeah, when you go back to allegoric painting, when you let you inspire by structures, you don't know what to get or where or you don't know the motive as a result. That means you paint and paint and paint, and you don't know what you're painting until it's finished. It's a quite funny thing, because when I started to paint this structure, I never expected to get a hippo. So you get surprised from time to time, and that makes big graphic designing interesting. Yeah, I can bomb you with those details because there are several hundred. Maybe we should interrupt here and start a question answer thing. So if you got any questions to any of the pictures I showed you, maybe we could clear them. The microphone is there. I'm trying to get to the beginning of the slideshow. Just a moment, please. Yep. Who's talking, actually?
Here, Exen.
Yeah.
You said you divide your pictures into specific areas. Do you still have the whole picture open, or do you just zoom in?
Actually, 3 or 4 years ago, I did the huge medieval landscape, wherever it is, there. And at that time, I got a version of Photoshop licensed, a version of Photoshop which couldn't handle more than 30,000 pixels in whites. So I had to divide this picture in several stripes to paint them, because it wasn't possible technically. Nowadays, I tend to have the graphics open, yes, the whole graphic. But I don't work in layers anymore. This picture has about 2,000 layers something. The computer gets slow. The more layers you have, the computer gets more slow. It's a logical kind of thing. Therefore, I tend to open with 1 or 2 layers, sometimes 5 or 10, but never more. If it gets too complex, I reduce the layers to 1 and paint, do further painting.
In your computer, when you have such a big picture, how much RAM do you have, and how much is used when you paint such a picture?
Second part of the question is easy. Everything is used, but I only got 4 gigabytes, but it is enough. Because most of the graphic is on hard disk, and the hard disks today are such fast you can work on the picture most of the time without struggling.
But this doesn't count for the pictures I do.
Excuse me?
I do pictures.
Yes.
I draw them now. Now I have the scanner for this. I scan them in I have A3 format, and it's 600 dpi, and when I make a picture like this in Photoshop, and then I color it in 8-bit per RGB, and the picture with a few layers already, it crosses the 10 gigabytes border, and in RAM, and if I use 16 bits for smudging, then the picture is so big, it takes all the 16 gigabytes I have, and the hard disk is not fast enough. It interrupts the painting when scrapping, so you must have small caches or undos or anything?
Well, yes, I usually don't work with undos. When you know what you're doing, you don't need an undo, or you don't need 2 undos. One's enough. Actually, lots of the graphic, if you have a grand graphic, as you said, DNA3 at 600 dpi, when you open it, most of the graphic is laid on the hard disk, and I never get problems with it. Of course, you have to wait when you swap the areas. When you work here in zoom, in full zoom, you have to zoom out and swap to here, and have to wait some time until everything got processed and stuff. But if it's done, you can usually you can work on like that. Excuse me?
Since I have so much memory, and I plan to go to 32, that will be the maximum I will ever use. Then I can scroll through the picture. It doesn't mind. It doesn't matter, because the workflow is very important for me, and so I don't do so much details, because it's mostly comic style.
Maybe you should vectorize your comic projects.
Yeah, but well, I have problems with normal art things and artistic things like proportions, and this is the style I like.
Okay.
I have a different approach in
art.
Okay,
it's legitimate. Well, actually, I don't know your calculator. Usually, it shouldn't be any problem. Maybe you have to think about a new PC. I don't know. Excuse me. Are there different questions? Other questions?
Yes, hello.
Yes.
You were talking about the combining of different techniques,
Yes.
and making it all blend together, especially visible on the picture with the ducktails.
Yep.
In the yes, in the layer with all the gold. What is your strategy to, or is it even your strategy to even out the differences in detail that you automatically get if you combine a rendered scene, a photo, and a drawing?
Yeah. Well, of course, you get a lot of detail because you can render your scenes at highest resolutions and stuff. But you always got some details which don't work. For example, if you look here, those coins are crap because they aren't round, and well, you have to gather a look for what do I have, what do I want, and what can I do. And the what can I do is the most important. I try to have a layer exchange by light sourcing and stuff, because it's fun to exactly combine those structures. Does it answer your question? No. Maybe we could talk later. Any questions? Okay. Okay. Thank you for visiting my seminar, and have lots of fun painting. And don't forget to develop your own style, to get all those pictures out of your head and onto the canvas, and try to combine techniques to be different from others. There's nothing as boring as the 93rds rendered cat or something else, or sex and dragon, and no one wants to see this. Keep an artistic and art aspect in your drawings by developing your own style, and try to catch different techniques and try to combine them. And yeah, my final advice is look at the lights. They're driving you crazy whilst painting. Such a picture has about 10 or 12 light layers to combine several things. They drive you crazy, but they are incredibly useful, and the more lights you have, the less problems you have combining things. Okay, thank you very much.